every day in the NICU, you just hope that day went well. The feeding and the weight gaining and no one getting sick, and just every little milestone that you hit, from removing a catheter to decreasing the amount of oxygen they were on, was just such an exciting time, but also just fearful. It was a time of uncertainty.
Having all the cords and the IVs running to them, I thought, what if we had to take them home with some of these attachments? Will we be able to take care of them as well as they're being taken care of at the NICU?
When you have a premature child, you don't know what to expect, and it's really quite scary leaving the resources at the hospital.
Developmental Tips is a wonderful program. A lot of parents get concerned when their babies get ready to leave the NICU. They've spent months here and they've had so many different people watching them, from pharmacists to respiratory therapists to physicians to nurse practitioners and nurses. Parents get concerned that they're going to go home and it's just them at home, and what if something's wrong with their baby and it's not caught early. The Developmental Tips program is another set of eyes on our babies when they go home, and we like to get them enrolled in the Tips program before they leave the NICU.
So when you get ready to go home, we'll start doing some discharge planning, and one of the programs that you'll qualify for is the Developmental Tips program. It's a developmental follow-up program that any baby who's born in Nebraska and comes to a NICU for more than a couple of days, they're offered to be enrolled.
We love the Developmental Tips program. Parents get surveys and a developmental follow-up visit. It's someone else making sure that your baby is meeting developmental milestones, and if they're not, gets them keyed into services a little bit earlier than would normally happen.
I wasn't familiar with the TIPS program before we had premature babies in the NICU. The staff talked with us multiple times about the TIPS program, let us know that individuals would be assessing our children and letting us know if there were any issues that needed to be addressed. And that's a little bit scary, even though you know that it could be a reality that they may have some delays. But after meeting with the TIPS clinicians, it was very evident that they were there to help us.
Talking with all the TIPS doctors and nurses really helps reassure that we are on track and the boys are developing the way that they should be.
They gave us some tips, if you will, things that we should be doing around the house to make sure that they're developing in the best way that they can.
We first heard about TIPS in the NICU. One of the nurses spoke with us about it, and then when we came home, we realized that TIPS was a really good opportunity to see things that we need to be on the lookout for, and to get feedback on all 3 kids separately was very valuable to us, to see if there was any other specialists we needed to be seeing, and with one of them we had to, and so it was just very nice to get that feedback.
We brought them in to the TIPS program when they're 6 months. And the staff there helped evaluate them to determine some things that we can do at home to help them improve, as they're growing. And a lot of the things they told us to do at home, we were able to take it and apply it and to help the boys. And everything that we picked up from there was helpful.
One of the physicians told us about and referred us to the Developmental Tips program. And one of the benefits of that was them referring us to the early intervention team. And looking back now, early intervention was really valuable because they opened our eyes to so many resources that were available, and that's provided tremendous benefits for us, giving us ideas of ways to work with Trey and help with his development and ideas for home care, and just the support really and the advice, because they had been through it and we never had.
Why sign up for Developmental Tips? Well, it's time to take your baby home, and most of the kids who leave the NICU do quite well. But some of the kids who leave the nursery because they've had kind of a tough start have some mild delays in their development during the first couple of years of life. Developmental Tips can help you and your pediatrician take note of those important developmental milestones, and if we see anything that's concerning to us at all, we know that with some early intervention, most of the kids, by the time they're 2 to 3 years old, they've really caught up and really do great.
I know my own pediatrician appreciated it also because I was going to him and asking, are they meeting milestones? Are they doing this? Are they doing that? So he was very pleased to have them evaluated and looked at.
TIPS is a great resource for families because I think oftentimes I see parents or family members concerned about their children's development and them reaching their full potential after they leave the NICU, and TIPS can be there and support the family and take some of that burden off the parents so that they can relax and feel reassured that they're doing everything to help their child reach that full potential and to do the best that they can.
And the best thing about TIPS, of course, is that it's free of charge, no cost. And not only is TIPS no charge, but a lot of the resources they turn you on to also are at no charge.
You will get to go home. You will get to start your family away from the hospital. And the best thing about TIPS is the reassurance that things are going well, that you're doing the right things.
I truly don't know where we would be without early intervention, and so thankful that we were referred through the TIPS program. I'm so grateful.
I don't know if we would have necessarily been able to determine some things that we can do at home to help them improve on our own without the help of the TIPS program.
I think the TIPS program is great, that it's provided at no cost to parents, and it's just additional reassurance that if there are delays with the boys in the future, that they will get us set up with the resources that are necessary to get us on the right track and educate us as parents and help us to do ultimately what is best for our boys.
I would encourage any parent to really look into TIPS. It is so worth your time, and it's that much time you have to give to get a wealth of knowledge and a wealth of information to help promote your child's growth, to get hooked up with different resources, because it can make a huge difference as far as the development of your child. I just think TIPS is so beneficial and so glad to be part of it.